Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and I'm actually, getting me a double video today. Already put one out, but then Marvel was kind enough to drop a new Ironheart trailer. And Ironheart is, comes out on the 24th? So 15 days away at this point. And yeah, we needed another trailer. And I think this trailer, no, I don't think this trailer. This trailer looks better than the other one. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why that is. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the clip that was released as well. That one was released a couple days ago, maybe 3 days ago at this point, and talk about what this seems like it's setting up and why I'm now even more excited for Ironheart based off of this most recent trailer. This trailer really is about Riri trying to find herself. I think you can put it to a couple different ways. They definitely talk about her father and her father's death, and kind of this idea of that he taught her of to truly know something, you have to break it down and then put it back together. As a kid, whenever there was a broken piece of technology that definitely couldn't be fixed, I was very good at taking it apart. Never really got into the putting it back together, but definitely did a lot of the taking it apart to see what was in there. But this is talking about like truly understanding something, and her friend, not Parker Robbins, the Hood, but the one that we've seen in a previous trailer as well, tells her basically like, well, you may have to break yourself kind of down and put yourself back together so you can truly understand who you are. Because I think as a character, she's a genius. Like, we know that, and we saw her in Wakanda Forever, but now she's had that suit taken away from her. She has to figure out who she is herself. And that is exactly what I want from a show like this. From a Disney Plus show introducing a character, the best ones are always about characters trying to understand themselves better and figure out what it means to be a hero, or who they are precisely in the place of their existence. Because I think we get that with Miss Marvel. It is great. I think we get that in Agatha all along, which is great. Loki, I think, has a good amount of that kind of development in it. Moon Knight, which I like a lot, has that growing understanding to who you are and accepting yourself as who you are. WandaVision has Wanda having to realize and understand and figure out how to process her grief. Excuse me. And then the ones that are kind of just more fun or okay, I don't think we get a ton of that in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Hawkeye, which they're decent shows. Not bad, not great. I'm not a huge Falcon and Winter Soldier fan, just because you could really see the seams. But then something like Secret Invasion, I feel like we don't have that at all for any character. And that one was a complete dud for me. And I think for most people. But this one looks like it's getting back to what Marvel should be doing, which is giving you those characters trying to understand who they are, so as an audience we understand them as a character. And this most recent trailer really does that. And I also like the element of magic in this. And we'll talk about the clip here after this, talking about the magic, but it looks like she is even infusing or empowering her suit with magic. And I suspect that this whole idea of take yourself apart, figure out who you are, and put yourself back together is coming partway through the season. I don't think that's kind of the kicking off event to the season. I think the kicking off event to the season is her being like, I had something really awesome in Wakanda, and I want to get kind of that feeling back again. I want to be, as she says, she wants to be iconic. And so she's willing to do what it takes. But now she is questioning if what she's doing is actually a good way to be iconic. And so her friend is kind of questioning her for her and saying, is this who you really are? Are you somebody who is going to not have this conscience and just do whatever you want? Or are you going to actually have a conscience and think through and be that hero? That person that your father would have wanted you to be. The whole idea of with great power comes great responsibility. Just kind of in a different way and looking at it in a different way. So I think that while we have that, we see her trying to shortcut it. We see her trying to make a deal potentially with the literal devil, Mephisto, to get that iconic people recognizing her moment, feeling, to feel like she has made it to the big time, but at what cost? And I'm going to be curious to see how that interplays with her technology. How is that going to be part of what she does there? But now let's talk about the short little clip as well, because I think that really continues to reinforce her questioning. Where Parker Robbins, the Hood, basically says, well, what do you think you were getting into? You want to be iconic. Are you fine breaking a few eggs? Are you fine getting your hands a little bit messy? Because that's what you're going to have to do to be iconic. This isn't a nice little walk in the park. Oh, it's a happy thing. What were you expecting? Were you expecting Ocean's 11, where you're Robin Hood? Or were you expecting The Sopranos? Because either way, both of them are criminals. And at the end of the day, that's what we are. We're criminals. You're a criminal with us. If you thought that this was going to be a super happy, like, oh, just in for a little bit, no. You decided and you made this choice. And that's why I think the conversation with her friend comes later. I think that comes after she's realized, I don't like the choice that I made. I don't like the fact that either I made a deal with the devil, or I know that Parker Robbins, the Hood, made a deal with the devil, and I made a deal with him. So I'm really excited now to see kind of how this works out, because I really do think there's a lot of kind of unique and interesting elements that they can play with, and it is giving me the correct vibe for the show. It's giving me the vibe of, how is Riri going to handle being a hero, handle her intelligence, and use it for good. And like I said, that's when Marvel is at its best with its shows. When it has the characters questioning who they are and what they want to be. I didn't mention Daredevil Born Again. That's what makes that a solid show. And an enjoyable show. I mean, besides Fisk, but even Fisk is trying to figure out who he wants to be. So let me know your thoughts. Have you checked out this new teaser from Marvel? What did you think of it? Drop that down in the comment section below. We always ask, of course, be respectful. We value differences of opinions here, But difference of opinions means that we have conversations and discuss and engage in a healthy, constructive manner with our differences. So just be aware of that for down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this content, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We'll be talking about this new teaser. We talked about the last little scene, last episode of the 10-Minute Marvel podcast. You can find that here on the channel. Click onto the channel, subscribe, and click that notification bell to know when these new videos come out. Or you can find, and then click on the podcast tab. Or you can find the podcast wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from by searching for 10-Minute Marvel. But with that, we will see you next time.